always lived in a large body. There's not a moment that I don't remember being tall and thick. But when I was younger, I was super self-conscious of my size. So much that I was constantly aware of how people saw me. So I wore lots of layers and big hoodies so that I could hide behind them. And I'd go as far as positioning myself in my desk at school to look as small as possible to the kids sitting behind me. I'd even walk down the hall super quick to avoid being seen between classes. I'd be sweaty and out of breath at the start of each class. And at parties, I'd try to be the first one to crack the fat jokes so no one else could hurt me with their words. The world was teaching me to hate my body, and I showed up to every lesson. Don't even get me started about clothes shopping. I could never even shop in the children's section because the pants were always way too short or way too tight in the waist. At 8 years old, I dreaded going shopping for new clothes because while other girls went to Aeropostale and Justice, my mom took me to Fashion Bug. Anybody remember Fashion Bug? Fashion Bug is where my mom got all of her clothing. Well, and she looked great in Fashion Bug clothing, but not on me as an 8-year-old. I mean, come on. I was not cute at all. I was so afraid for any of my friends to find out that I shopped at Fashion Bug. Thank God they didn't, but my teachers sure did. There was nothing worse than having on the same outfit as a teacher. Thanks, Fashion Bug. To say the least, shopping has never been fun for me. It felt like work to find clothing that I liked. And many shopping trips ended in disappointment and feeling even more insecure in my body. But by the time I was in college, a lot had changed in the relationship that I had with my body. I started to own my body. I figured out that the world we lived in created the lens through which I was taught to view my body. So I started to fight back. I fell in love with my body. She deserved to be seen out in public. So I would take my body to yoga class, deepening the love that I had for this vessel. The newfound love that I had for myself led me to tear off the extra layers that I hid behind. I was working towards feeling better in my own skin. And when I looked in the mirror, I actually liked what I saw. The girl I saw was fat, with a P, pretty, hot, and thick. But shopping was still a challenge. But this time, it was because I was on a college girl's budget. So it was a serious splurge when my friends and I would go shopping at thrift stores. Now, thrift shopping is its own challenge. It's already hard enough to find new plus-size clothing, but secondhand might be easier to find a needle in a haystack. So while my friends would dig through rows and rows of cool secondhand clothing, I would tend to wander through the housewares, maybe make it over to the men's section, find me a chunky sweater. But on this particular day, we were on a mission to find funky and cool clothing to wear to the clubs that weekend. So I was feeling a little more daring than usual. Women's section, here I come. As I searched the rack, something caught my eye. I saw this silky, bright purple vintage-looking jacket, and I thought to myself, it was beautiful. I loved it. It called out to me. And I said to myself, I need that jacket. But as soon as that thought came and went, so did another one. Something that cute couldn't possibly be my size. I was prepared to be disappointed. But as I looked at the tag, I'm sure everyone in the store could hear me shriek, it's my size! I hurried and put it on, and it fit even better than I could ever imagine. This moment felt magical. Buying that jacket redeemed my faith that big girls can have cute things. A few months later, I was on my way to my first music festival with my girlfriend. I was so pumped because at this time, I felt better than ever in my body. and I wanted to sing and dance and create more memories, feeling happy and free in my big, beautiful body. The week I accepted, so I packed all of my favorite clothing items and accessories that made me feel like a sexy badass, including, of course, the jacket. Honestly, it was going to be the staple of my entire weekend. I could not wait to wear the jacket with all of the bright lights and funky music and take Instagram-worthy photos. When we arrived at the festival, we had to make several trips to unpack the car to the campsite in the dark. Later, as we're getting ready to change into fresh clothes for the night, I noticed that my luggage with all of my clothing and toiletries was missing. I asked all the campsites around me if they'd seen any luggage on the trail. I even checked in with Lost and Found. We gave up looking that night. Maybe our luck will be better in the morning. The next day came, still no luggage. My favorite artist was playing that day, so I was totally happy with being a hippie for the day and stinking just a little. It started to rain, I mean a heavy downpour, but the show went on. We started to dance in the rain. The show went on and we enjoyed the entire day, filled with live music and dancing in the rain. By the time we walked up that hill to our campsite, I looked like a wet dog who just got done playing in the mud. We got back to our tent and even it was flooded. So we made a plan to go to Walmart in the morning. When we arrived at Walmart, it was like the place had been ransacked. There was absolutely no cute, funky clothing. The only thing that was available in my size was black leggings, black tank tops, and that's just not my style. I accepted my fate at this point and reminded myself of the ones who came before me at Woodstock 69. The weekend went on, and although the rain persisted, I danced. I danced to and from stages with strangers and all through the night. And I met some of the nicest people who made me forget all about my lost luggage. The person I came with, the love of my life, looked at me as though I was the brightest and most beautiful in the crowd. I felt amazing. The memories created that weekend will never be about what I wore, but how I felt. When we were packing our things to go home, I stepped out into the trail and I saw this bright, purple, vintage looking, wait, is that my jacket? At that moment, the clouds parted, the sun shined bright, and I could hear a choir of angels singing as I ran up to the woman wearing my jacket and screamed, "Ma'am, may I ask you where you got that jacket? Because I lost my luggage this weekend and I had a jacket that looks just like that. Please tell me you found it." She kind of looked at me like, "Who the hell are you?" She confirmed that her and her friends had found my luggage that weekend. And instead of looking for the rightful owner, they had their way with my stuff. She told me to follow her to the car, but before she could make it 2 steps further, I was like, "Hold up, can I get my jacket?" I practically ripped it off of her. No malice. I was just excited that I had this jacket back in my life. We arrived at her car, and her friend dropped my luggage in front of me. I looked down, and there was a bra, some underwear, and now that I think of it, not even all of my underwear. They made some excuse that the clothing was all mixed up in all of their luggage, so we exchanged contact information, and she promised me she would collect all of my items and mail them back to me. 5 years later, I have never received those items in the mail, but I do have my jacket. This is the real jacket. I am so happy this jacket found me again, because this jacket found me at a time where it felt impossible to love my body. It found me at a time when I was just beginning to find my style. I don't think about any of the other items that I lost that weekend, but I do think about the jacket and how it made me feel and how it made me feel without it. I realize that I deserve the best things in life. I deserve to feel good in what I wear, no matter what I'm wearing. I deserve to take up space. And without the jacket, I learned to dance in the rain, wearing all black, with chunky hiking shoes, feeling not a care in the world for how others perceived me. I realized I am bright, funky, and beautiful, even without it. The jacket brought me confidence when I needed it most, but more importantly, I discovered my own beauty and the power that was within me all along. I just had to be brave enough to let it shine.